Good evening, my dear friends. It has been long since I had spoken to all of you. I'm happy that a lot of people are subscribing to my channel, which I can call it as occasional channel because I don't get time to speak to you frequently. However, today I saw an interesting note, which was by way of an article, that was saying that in China they have introduced a provision doing away with the concept of board of directors for small companies. I found it very interesting because, practically speaking, having dealt with over a period of 30 years with several companies, you will find that, practically speaking, most of the companies are one man companies or driven, directed, controlled by one person. Even though the concept of one person company has also been introduced under the Companies Act, at least in 2013 Act, still it is always good to see practicality and the provisions. For example, if there is a small company, for example, if there is a one person company, there are some 5 6 directors or 2 directors minimum because it is required under law. Even for a check bounce case or for any other legal notice for any other matter, there is a tendency amongst the lawyers to issue notice to all the persons who are named as directors in the MCA. Maybe MCA master data will show the details of directors. So in addition to the company, they will simply send notices. And practically speaking, it is the one man who decides everything. And therefore the board is only a concept which is existing for the purpose of records and books and papers. Otherwise, it is a single person company. And therefore, why not small companies be freed from the concept of board of directors? Why should not we say, yes, it is possible to have a single director constituting the board and he owes certain responsibilities, including the submission of a board's report. In a single director company, there won't be the need for any meetings and procedures which will go along, which will go in a long way towards ease of doing business. Because practically, we must understand what happens on the ground. And that will promote also freedom to some extent, reduce compliance cost as well. At the same time, it will nail the person who is person responsible for the management of the business of the company, and a single director will be whatever name he fancies himself to be called. He is going to be the person responsible for the management of affairs of the company or the whole of the affairs of the company. And therefore, the question of some other director, being added as a accused or being added as a respondent unnecessarily, making him to run through the pillar and post and prove that he was only an ordinary director, he is entitled to some consideration. All those things can be done away with because it is by law permitted that there is no need for a board of directors. Of course, the director single will be considered as the board of directors by virtue of provision of law, and that will definitely serve the purpose. Ultimately, you need a person who is responsible for driving the affairs of the company, and if he goes crazy and if he doesn't care about applicable law compliance, he is liable. There cannot be any second thought about it. So in this context only, when I read this Chinese concept, I felt it is definitely worth emulating for whatever it is worth, and consider it for small companies. Of course, there could be a tweaking of the definition or a proviso be added, because for everything we can always add a proviso. Hundreds of provisos can be added to provide some exclusions and all, provided the number of members of the company does not exceed 10 20, something like that we can put. So I think it is a matter worth consideration, and it will improve ease of doing business, it will reduce compliance cost, it will nail the person who has actually been the director, and therefore in my opinion, it will avoid unnecessary litigations, it will avoid burden on somebody else being simply added as a director, shouldering lot of responsibilities, and by virtue of that, a knowledgeable guy will demand his pound of flesh. The other person, unfortunately, will be paying the price for it, or a person like wife or spouse, close relative, will be named as a director without any contribution actually coming from. I think it is worth considering. We hope you will agree with this, and if you simply have some thoughts, comments, you can always share it with me. You can share this speech also with people so that they are able to spread across this message. And we maybe slow and steady, small steps will go a long way in bringing, we can say, sync between what happens on the ground practically and what is there in the provision, and also will improve the ease of doing business, and also will automatically cut down the compliance cost. Thank you very much. Looking forward to listening to your comments and thoughts, and also looking forward to meeting you as often as may be possible. Thank you.